Hello and welcome back to Ike's Venting Channel. I am joined by Abyssal. Say hello.
Hello.
Our topic today is going to be about depression with sparkles at both ends, and how it's affect both of us and what we hate about it. So yeah, all right, Abyssal, go ahead.
Hi, thanks, I. So, my depression is kind of, how should I say, weird. My depression started out because I have a problem with sleeping. It doesn't matter how tired or how much I exercise, whatever I do. Uh, there are sometimes problems where I might be super tired and I just can't sleep at all. Sometimes I have to go to work without sleeping at all. And 4 years ago, when I was at school, I could not sleep at all. I had problems with school because of it, and thanks to it, it it kind of like ruined my ideals of
Mm,
what kind of person I should be. And thanks to that, it kind of destroyed my mentality pretty strongly. And I don't take lightly on like diagnosing myself with such kind of stuff. And I had to go to psychiatric psych or whatever you call it. I think it's psychiatric
yeah,
clinic. Uh, because of it. And yeah, they said I am depressed. I have a problem, and mm, I had a hard time dealing with it. Because of they wanted to give me subscription pills, and I just disliked the idea of using pills to help myself to get better. I understand when I'm sick, but when it comes to mentality kind of sickness, I despise the idea of just handing out pills that makes you happy or stuff like that. And it actually didn't help me at all. They gave me first pills to get me more sleepy, get me drowsier. Didn't
mm,
help me at all. My even brother took one pill, and in a few minutes he completely went to sleep and slept the whole day away, just like that. It didn't help me at all. The only thing that it did was it when I went to sleep, when I fell asleep. It took me at least like 2 or 3 hours of lying in bed to get to sleep. And once I got to sleep, I could not wake up. If I woke up super early, I was so tired, and I was learning to be a carpenter at that time. So I had to handle machinery that saw blades and stuff like that.
jeez.
Just- But yeah, it just took all motivation away. Everything that I liked, just it had no fun in it anymore. Uh, and it makes you just want to yell at stuff more and more and more for me. And yeah, it's kind of like it's more like it was a smooth swing for me as well. Sometimes I'm like I don't want to do anything, and then sometimes just random times nothing happened, but just you want to curl up in a ball and just cry to sleep or do whatever.
I feel that.
And yeah, and yeah, then they and then the second pill was for the morning, for trying to make me more wake more awake and to cheer me up. Still, it didn't work at all for me. And just taking those pills and they saying that hey, you have to take them a week or two to make them work. It felt like I had no solution because I took them for a month maybe. Nothing happened, nothing changed. And just seeing that my brother took it once just for shits and giggles and it worked instantly just made it a lot worse. So what happened was I one day I had an appointment with my psychiatrist,
Yeah.
and on midway I just stopped. I thought for a few minutes and I did not go. I just went back to home, and I my mentality was at that moment that if their solution is pills and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
then I do not want to participate on it. I need to find my own solution for it. The biggest problem when it came was I didn't go for to school for a month, and that kind of ruined my school grades with it and my graduation a little bit. Uh, I think the hardest person who actually got affected by it was my girlfriend, who could not support me. Not because she didn't know how to or stuff like that. It was more like I did not want support. I didn't want to accept support. I wanted was to just be uh on in my mind, think about that, and try to fix my ideals about myself. So it's just now, before my depression, I just didn't like when young people said, "Oh, my God, I'm so depressed. Look, I'm cutting myself," because my ex girlfriend's younger sister's boyfriend was like, "Oh, I'm gonna cut myself," and he did actually cut himself a few times, and I'm like, "Hey, can I use you as a discount code?" Because that was just idiotic.
Jeez. Yeah, I feel you.
And now that I have like experienced depression, and when I always hear someone just say, "Damn, I'm depressed," if I know my friend is like saying it jokingly or something like that, I'm fine with it. But when it someone says it's serious, like, then I just like, dude, I can see it right away. You're not depressed. You're just using it like I don't know what. And just seeing people putting it on social media just pisses me right off, because if they were to know how depression is, it would be sad. I'm not gonna lie, I live in the capital city, and every time when I went to store and I had to wait for a red light, I had images of me just taking a step forward and getting hit by a car. Would I do it? No, because I knew the consequences of it. I didn't go that far.
I feel
But
that.
yeah, that's my experience with depression, and that's my ideology of when people use the word depression. It's just dumbfounded how people use words like that so easily.
Yeah, I feel it. And thank you for sharing your experience. Uh, as for me, so I have an all the time depression, but it kind of spikes. So it's always at, if we use like a 1 through 10, right? It's always at like a 3 or 4. But then just certain times, man, it gets so bad. It reaches like a 10 or goes above the scale of 10. It goes to like an 11. And I can't get out of it, you know? And I have meds for it so that way I can, but by myself I can't. Like I go to a very very dark place. I'm stuck in bed all the time. I feel like everybody hates me. I feel like everybody around me is just faking to love me or or faking to care, and that the only way out is to either leave forever or die, you know? And I feel as if sometimes I feel like there's no way out. Obviously there is. I take meds, so whenever I feel that really big spike, or if I can, sometimes I can see it coming. Sometimes my sleeping gets heavier. It'll I'll sleep for about 12 hours, uh, and that's when I'll figure to myself like, hey, that's it, it's starting again. So I would pop my pills, and it usually works a bit better. I still the meds only help so much. If I'm going back to the scale, it goes to an 8, I would say. But I've I'm pretty sure I've had this all my life. I remember feeling this way back in 3rd grade, and my parents did not do so well handling this, right? I definitely exhibit some signs of depression early as a kid, but I had called a suicide hotline when I was in middle school because I was in a very dark place then, and I almost did take that step. There was this little bridge that it went to a creek, and in where I'm from, there's not a lot of water that run through it, and I was thinking about jumping. And I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't. And then I remember in school there was a school assembly um about like suicide hotline and stuff like that. So I called, see if they can help. They didn't really help. I talked to them for a bit. It didn't do much. Um and then the next day the school is there. And one of the requirements for it is that you tell them like where your school is. And I'm pretty sure that's in case you go missing, and so they know where to go and find you. But they called my school. I got called up to the office. It was this big thing. It was like a whole bunch of people were there, and they were like, "We're here for you" and stuff like that. I'm just like, in my head, I was just like, "Shut up! Can I go back to class?" Like, if I'm gonna be miserable, I'm gonna be miserable doing my homework and not in a room full of people. And unfortunately, because I told the school, they had to tell my parents. And again, at the time, my parents were still learning how to parent. You know, they didn't they didn't know how to deal with it. My pops got mad because he was just like, well, why are you depressed? You have a roof over your head, you got food, you got clothes. What is there to be depressed about? But I'm just like, yo, I don't know. You expect me to know what I'm depressed about? This is just a mental thing. Like, I don't know. Uh, and the school required me to go to the school psychiatrist, which, by the way, I don't recommend because you can't say a lot of things there. If they basically the guy was like, hey, if I deem you're a threat to yourself or others, then you have to go to a psych ward. And I'm like, well, I'm not a danger to others, and I don't think I'd go through with anything that would harm me, but I have those thoughts. I think everybody does, somewhat. But I think it's even worse for people with depression, you know? I think when you say it, it's because you really want to in the moment, but you end up weighing the consequences and you're like, nah. And if I had told him any of the stuff that I thought about, pretty sure at that point in time, they'd have been like, yeah, no, go to the ward, which is not what I needed. I needed to vent. I needed to, venting channel, wink wonk. I needed to talk to somebody, you know? And that didn't happen until college. Uh, I graduate high school. First year of college, I actually went to go see somebody on my own. Uh, he was pretty cool. Not gonna lie, for a first time seeing a shrink, it was great. Uh, he understood where I was coming from. He understood what was happening, and he calmly explained the next steps, and he helped a lot. I started feeling myself climb out of that rut little by little. I found hobbies. I found like outside of the medication, like the medication helped the spikes, but the day to day stuff, hobbies, uh, learning things to do, video games, love video games, running, still love running. Running's fun. Uh, Skating, music. I found not so much an escape. An escape is not a solution. It's more of a more of a tool to help manage. I'm gonna be stuck with depression for the rest of my life. That's not something that will go away. But I feel as though it's managed now, and I have more happier memories. More less. It's not that it's happy. It's not like when you have depression that you can't be happy. It's that when you have depression, it's muddled. It's muddy. It doesn't feel quite right. But I've been having less of that experience. I've been having more brighter moments. So yeah. And on that note, I think we're done. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you could leave a like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Yeah. Say goodbye, Abyssal.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.